what's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's shaking? What's doing? Hope you're all doing well. It's a lazy Monday night. Monday is September the 22nd, 2025, 7:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is episode 300 and, what is it? Is it 59? I thought it was 60. No, it's 359. McRae Live. Oh, I forgot to turn on my little sign over there. Oh, well, that's all right. I thought I would jump on and just kind of make it an old Q&A. Whatever you guys want to talk about, whatever you guys want to dive into, what's been going on, what's happening, what's shaking, what's doing. You let me know what is going on. So, yeah, the floor is yours tonight. It's an all Q&A. I don't have anything on the agenda in terms of topics or anything like that. It's kind of been slow. I mean, not if you're a movie reviewer. If you're a movie reviewer, then you've always got something to talk about. But there's not really anything that really interests me in terms of wanting to talk about, really. No, I haven't seen the latest Conjuring. I won't see it till it comes out on streaming probably. I don't know. There's not a lot of stuff that really interests me right now that I feel like jazzed and energized. I'm like, oh, I gotta talk about that. So I thought, you know what? I've been on in about a week and a half. Why not just come on and shoot the shit for a little bit and talk to you guys and see what everybody else is doing and let you guys have the floor. Whatever you guys want to talk about and kibitz about back and forth. Let's do it tonight. And we'll see if anybody rolls on in. And, if anybody rolls on in, then great. If not, that's okay too. No big deal. That's all right. We'll see if anybody rolls on in. What's happening? Tabitha's here. Hey, Tabitha, what's going on? Brandon's here. Good to see you, Brandon. What's cracking, Dave? Eggs are cracking. Nicholas says thoughts on the new Ed Gein Netflix movie. Haven't seen it. Saw the trailer. Looked pretty good. But I have not seen it yet. Have you guys seen it? Anybody else see it? I have not seen it yet. So I'm not really sure if it's any good. Warren Armour's here. Scared Straight Productions. Good to see you. Geeked Out Turtle Fan says Dave was putting on his pants one leg at a time. Be patient, everyone. Yeah, I know. I know. You'd think everybody by now would know that I never come on right at 7 o'clock. It's not that I'm busy. It's that I'm waiting for people to file into the room. I mean, folks, there's literally, because it's just a Q&A right now, and I haven't been on in a week and a half, there's only 36 people in here right now. It's because nobody cares. You know what I mean? So I'm in no rush. If I was talking Halloween, there'd be 136 people in here right now. But it's a Q&A. It's very light, laid back. Nobody cares. People see that, oh, Dave's Q&A. He's just yapping. I don't give a fuck. It's like, fuck, whatever. It's all good. My life is going slow right now, just to say. Slow? Well, that's not always a bad thing. Brandon says, Dave, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? I think it is about 36.5 miles per hour mid-flight. At peak flight, we're looking at about 46 miles per hour. It's taking off at about 15.7256, but that's rounded, and whatever, right? It all depends. Noah Smith says, hey, y'all, going to see Jordan Peele's Him tonight. Just a reminder, Jordan Peele did not direct that movie, ladies and gentlemen. He produced it, but he's not the director of it. But I hear it's crap. I hear it's garbage. So, yeah, I hear it's garbage. So that's the way it is. Garbage. What else is going on? Chester says, Dave, have you seen Weapons yet? Chester, you know I've seen Weapon. Chester, you tune into every single show that I do. You are always here at every single show. Do you not remember the show I did with Darren when we talked about Weapons a month ago? It was a big show. Yes, of course. Yes, I've seen it. I loved it. I thought it was great. Really liked it. Ryan Osho says, Dave, do you believe that every movie IP deserves to have a trilogy or just leave the IP the way it is, a standalone movie? Yes or no, and why? I don't think it depends on, it all depends on the story you're telling, right? We have to remember that studios are interested in franchises, right? Especially today, right? Franchises. So they will always try to figure out a way to make a sequel out of something. If The House on Port Robinson Road was successful, even though it's based on a true story that, like, it's not, the whole point is it's a one and done. You know, if it was hugely successful at like the box office or something, you'd bet your ass that whoever would distribute it would be like, we got to do a House of Four Hours in part 2 and part 3 and part 4. You know, and it's like, they don't care. They don't care. They just want to make money. And so, you know, we're in a big franchise phase right now, but also I think it depends on the story. You know, it depends on sort of the trajectory of what you're telling. I don't think everything has to be, you know, multiple films, but if it's a larger story that requires it, then perhaps. I mean, the only reason why they made a sequel to Halloween was not because of the cliffhanger ending, it was because it became the highest grossing independent horror movie in motion picture history. That's why. Again, that ending is not to set up a sequel, you know. Some people don't realize that. Brandon Barry says, Dave, going to The Rock's new movie, The Smashing Machine movie tonight. What is your favorite Dwayne Johnson movie? I don't know. I'm not a big Dwayne Johnson fan in terms of his movies because they're just kind of all the same. Except for this one, of course, looks really good. I don't know. I haven't watched a lot. I like Walking Tall. I think that's a good movie. But I haven't watched a lot of his movies. Most of his movies I haven't seen. Like I've seen The Rundown. It was The Rundown, right? I saw that one. I think that was his first one. I've seen Walking Tall. I saw the first Jumanji one that he was in. I saw Fast 5. Didn't see any of the other Fast Furious movies because they're just, yeah, I don't care. But I did see the very first one that he was in, which is like 2011 or whatever it was. So I haven't seen a lot of his movies. I don't find him, he's not a bad actor or anything. I don't think he's a terrible actor, but he is the same guy in every movie he's in. And he's almost too big. Do you know what I mean? Like he's almost just too, like he's not like a normal guy. Like just normal people don't walk around. So it's hard to take him, like with Arnold. Okay, look, I realize that I don't have the dimensions in front of me. But when you look at Arnold, okay, when Arnold was bodybuilding, he was massive, right? He was like 240 pounds, whatever he was. 250 pounds. He was big. And then when he stopped bodybuilding, obviously he lost a lot of that mass. So when you look at like Twins Arnold or T2 Arnold, right? He's still a big guy. He's still a big guy. Like if he were to walk into the room, you'd be like, that's a big dude. Like, I don't want to mess with that guy. That's a big dude. And his biceps were fucking bulging. Like he was a big guy, but he wasn't nearly as big as he was when he was competing for Mr. Olympia. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so he was still a big guy and he was still bigger than Stallone and bigger than certainly anybody else at that time, Van Damme. But he still wasn't like comically big. The Rock is, although not now because he's lost a lot of that, he's kind of, he became comically big. He became superhero big in non-superhero movies. Like it's difficult to take like a regular husband and, father who's like, bleh! It's like, I don't believe it. You know what I mean? Whereas how big he is, like, it looks like he's tiny now, when in reality, he's still jacked. He's like the size Arnold was in Twins. At least I get it. I don't have the numbers in front of me. It looks like he's really skinny, but it's only he's really skinny compared to where he was in like, Black Adam, or something like that, right? Or The Smashing Machine. But when you look at, like, I saw him, not the loose fitting shirts, but when he comes out on stage in like a more of a form fitting, he's still jacked. If he was to walk into the room right now, he'd be the biggest dude he's still jacked. He's just not, you know what I'm saying? Right? He's still big. And so I hope he kind of stays this size because he's still big. He's still jacked. He's still got the pipes and the pecs and the abs. But he's like, I could believe him as a father. I could believe him as a husband. I could believe him as more of that every guy. You know what I mean? Where I can't believe him the size of Black Adam, in like just like a regular movie. Like I can't. He's always got to be in action. Or I did see Hobbs and Shaw. I did see that. But he's always he's got to be in those kinds of movies. and because otherwise he can't. And I think one of the reasons why he has lost all that weight is so he can be taken more seriously. He doesn't have to be in these crazy. It's what Dave Bautista did. Dave Bautista was gigantic. It was huge. It was comical. Like he couldn't just be like the regular guy at that size. It's just ridiculous, right? Nobody walks around like that. I mean, people do, but nobody walks around like that. So anyways, I haven't seen a lot of his movies because I find it difficult to take him seriously. But maybe now I will. I hear The Smashing Machine is good. So I don't know. Oh, thank you, Brandon. Yes, thank you. There are 13 spots left in the Halloween night watch along for Rob Zombie's 2 and Kills. Yeah, folks, we reached our goal, of course, which is awesome. But don't forget that the Bloodbath double feature is still there. There's only 13 spots left, and then it's gone. And that's the live watch along with me on Halloween night, limited to 100 people. So I really hope we can sell off those remaining 13. Like it would really suck if we get to Halloween night and we've missed it by 13. Like, guys, come on, man. But anyway, so 13 left. Brandon put the link into the chat. The campaign's in demand, which is amazing. You guys are awesome. The campaign is in demand. Thank you so much for that. So now we're working towards the stretch goals now, right? Our first stretch goal is 30,000. We're at 22,000 Canadian. So that's good. So I'm hoping we can get to 30,000 soon, because that would be awesome. Yeah, for sure. Brandon says it's all natural too, just protein and weights. That's right. All totally all natural protein. Nobody that big is natural. Nobody. It's just not. It's too big. Anyways, thank you for that, Brandon. Appreciate that. Let me see here. Arnold was mostly huge in Conan 1 and 2 after his bodybuilding time. He was big in Conan, yeah, but he wasn't bodybuilding big. He was big because it was shortly thereafter, but it was still a few years. Like even when he retired and then came back, there's a whole controversy around his 7th win. 6th win or 7th win? His 7th win, I think. Because he was big, but he came back. It was announced late. He only trained for like a month. There's a lot of people, look it up. There's a lot of people that are like, he should not have won. He was still big, but he wasn't like pumping iron big. Pumping iron big was like peak Arnold, right? He was still big. He was bigger than he was in like T2 or, Twins or something like that. He was kind of in the middle, and so that's kind of where he was with Conan. Was a little bit kind of after that, and was kind of, you know what I mean? But he wasn't pumping iron big. Pumping iron was ridiculous. And, it would be like Lou Ferrigno trying to, be the dad next door. It's like, you can't take it seriously. So yes, The Rock has lost a lot of weight. I think he lost 30 pounds, 40 pounds, something like that, 50 pounds maybe. He's lost a lot of weight, but he's still jacked. It's just, it's relative. He looks so small because he was overly big, right? Whereas he's probably right now maybe as big as he was in The Rundown, which is, he's still jacked. Do you know what I mean? Like he's still big, Anyways. But, yeah. Yeah, not a lot to talk about. I saw Jaws in the theater. It was amazing. Awesome. Bautista dropped a ton of weight too. Yeah, you can tell they both came off the gear for sure. For sure. Yeah, and there's no need to either. There's no need to. I mean, there's no need to be that big. I mean, it's just, if you're not wrestling anymore, who cares? The problem is it becomes such a big part of your DNA and baked into your DNA that it can be, tricky. Hey, Josh, what's going on? Did you see they are remaking Sleepaway Camp? I did. How do you think it will do with modern day audiences considering the ending? I don't know. The original director wants to do it, right? So I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a good question, Josh. I'm not really sure. I like Sleepaway Camp enough, but I couldn't care less about it, really. I'll be honest. I couldn't care less. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it as I don't care. Like I mean, that movie is iconic because of its ending, and that's about it. And so I think they'll change it, or they'll do something, or maybe they'll just keep it. Maybe they'll keep it. Frank, what's going on, Frank? There are too many movies coming out on October 3rd. Coyotes, Bone Lake, Sacred Shirtless, Good Boy. Oh, excuse me, Sacred Shirtless, Good Boy, Taylor Swift. One of these is scarier than the rest. That'd be Taylor Swift. I've heard of a couple of them. I haven't. Oh, Good Boy's the dog one. Yeah, I haven't really heard a lot of those. Interesting. Fascinating. Let me see. Evil Alex says, you looking forward to the He-Man film with Jared Leto as Skeletor? You know, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't know what to expect. I hope it's really good. I hope it's really, 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 really good. I have reservations. I have skepticism, but we'll see. You know, I hope it looks good. Oh, I did watch the trailer to Mandalorian and Grogu, and I couldn't care less. Like I will be totally honest. I don't care about the new Starfighter movie. That doesn't mean I'm not going to care once it comes out, perhaps, but I just don't care. Here's the thing, and it's not for the reasons you think. Most people would probably say they're tapped out on Star Wars. They don't care about it anymore because of Disney. Nope, that's not it for me. Nope. I like The Force Awakens. I actually kind of like, not kind of, I did. I enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker more than, I mean, apparently everybody thinks that's the worst one. No, The Last Jedi is way worse, in my opinion. Brandon Collins and I can disagree. But the point I'm making is that no, I'm not one of those Disney ruled my childhood. No. The reason for me, and I only speak for me, is because, and that doesn't mean that there isn't still an opportunity to do this, but I've just been unconvinced of, like, I just don't think Star Wars is anything more than what it is. I am unconvinced that Star Wars is, I don't know. I just, it's over for me. You know, it's done. It's done. I was excited for The Force Awakens because it was connected to the original trilogy and legacy characters were coming back. And it's what I wanted to see in the late 90s when it was announced that they were doing the prequels. I was like, why are you going backward? You should go forward. I don't care how Darth Vader became Darth Vader. I want to see what happened next. And so when The Force Awakens came out, I was like, wow, I'm going to see what happened next. And I liked them. I liked it. I like The Force Awakens. It's not the trilogy that it should have been, of course, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's a catastrophic failure, but that depends on who you ask. But at the end of the day, for me, Star Wars is the Skywalkers. Star Wars is that story. That's what it is. It's like, it's not that you can't expand the universe, but maybe it's because they just haven't done a good job of doing it. But Dave, you should watch Andor. I don't care. I have no desire to watch Andor, but it's really good. It might be, and maybe I'm missing out, but I don't care enough to sit my ass down and watch it. And what does that say? It just, for me as a 46-year-old man, I'm done. Like I don't care about all these other side stories and this and that and all this. I don't care. I've lost interest. And it's not because of the trilogy. It's because I think sometimes, and I'm ready to be proven wrong, sometimes we think universes are meant to be bigger, and it's not that you couldn't expand the Star Wars universe, but if you don't do it the right way, if you don't do it with tender love and care, you can lose so many people very early, and then I have no interest in revisiting other side stories and, you know, and all this stuff. I'm just like, I just don't, Star Wars to me is just, it's Luke and Han and Leia and Darth Vader and you know, and stories that were connected to that, you know, timeline and it's just, but now like Star Pilot with, you know, Ryan Gosling, and maybe it'll be amazing. Maybe it will. And I'll be the first to say it's amazing if it is, but I don't care. And it's not because Disney ruined my childhood. It's because they've done a poor job at making me care about this expanded stuff. I just don't, I don't know. I just think sometimes certain universes are just what they are. It's like, you know what? And bear with me when I say this, because I was talking about this on my member show the other day. And so I know I'm not the target demographic necessarily, and some people might find this funny. I get it, but I actually quite enjoy the show Wednesday. And 3 years ago when the first season came out, I sat down to watch it because I like Tim Burton. Who doesn't? I liked the trailers. I thought the trailers looked like it was like Stranger Things meets, you know, a bit of Harry Potter or, you know, whatever the case. I thought it just looked interesting. I know, listen, I'm a 46-year-old man. I know I'm not the target demographic, but I wanted to watch it. And of course, Jenna Ortega just kills it in the role. She's phenomenal in the role. It's made her a bona fide star. Her star was rising at that time, but it's made her huge. She's great in it. I knew she was going to be a star. Like I said, when I watched her in Scream, I had no idea who she was. And I said, she's going to be a star. And she is. And she kills it. And it's a really great show. It pitches down in terms of its, you know, it's family friendly horror. It's not like watching, you know, The Conjuring. I mean, it's family. It's the Addams Family, for goodness sakes. But the point I'm making is that I've watched season 1 and I watched season 2. And I liked season 2. You know, I did. I liked it. Thought it was great. But I liked season 1 better. And part of the reason was because, and maybe it's just, and I understand that you can't do the same thing over and over again. I understand. I think it's the point I'm trying to make is when you expand universes, I think it's a very delicate, it's like threading a needle. Do you know what I mean? Like you gotta be, you know, you do a little bit of too much of this and then not enough of that. And then, you know, I mean, it can be tricky. And one of the things that I moving forward, like I like season 2, right? But I didn't like it as much as the first season. And I was trying to think, why is that? It's good. It's good. I mean, everybody's cast so brilliantly. Catherine Zeta-Jones, still hot as hell. She's great as Morticia. Oh my God, she's amazing. Emma Myers, who plays Enid, she's fantastic. The whole cast is great. And Jenna's electric every time she's on, you know, on screen. And so, I mean, it's so well done. And as I said on my member show, as an actor myself, I really love watching actors act. And I appreciate watching actors act. Like, for example, after I was done season 2 of Wednesday, I went and watched Emma Myers' show that she has where she's the lead, a British show based on a book called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder or something like that. That's not for me. That's young adult, you know, Nancy Drew shit. That's not for me. But I'm enamored with Emma as an actress. She's very good. You know, and as a filmmaker, you look at actors and you watch them carefully and, you know, and you think about certain things. Anyways, and I really appreciated, so I watched that whole thing. That's not for me, but I love watching actors act in their craft. I understand the craft. I started out as an on-camera actor way back in the day, of course, before I, started doing the voiceover full-time. Voice acting is acting. It's just behind a microphone, of course. So I know a lot about the craft. I appreciate it. I love watching actors act. Anyways, back to Wednesday. I found that naturally with a season 2, you're going to want to expand, and I get that. But I found that there was so much going on in season 2. There were many different, there was like a B plot and a C plot and a D plot, and they kind of all two come together at the end, but but and then the Addams Family, Morticia and Gomez and Pugsley, and they're all in it like every episode now, and because they find excuses for the family to live on the thing. And if you haven't seen it, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm surprised. I'm surprised all of you haven't checked out yet. But if you have watched it, you know what I'm talking about. And it's still great. Don't get me wrong. It's Tim Burton. The show's electric. It's great. Ortega's fantastic. It's great. But the show is called Wednesday. And I found sometimes there was a few B, C plots in season 2 that I had trouble caring about. I was like, I want to get back to the show was season 1, Wednesday's on like in every scene. It is. It's like Nancy Drew meets Stranger Things meets Harry Potter. Do you know what I mean? Meets the Hardy Boys. It's not that I know you can't just do that every single. I get you got to expand. I get that, but there was, and they did it, and it was good. But I found myself kind of going, okay, all right. And then I heard that the showrunners want to expand even more, and I'm like, okay, but let's not forget. The show is called Wednesday, not the Addams Family. You can have, like in season 1, there was like Morticia, Gomez, Pugsley were there at the beginning, right, in the first episode. And then I think there was like an episode 4 or something, where the family comes for parent weekend, right? That's great. You have a whole episode where you have the crazy shenanigans of Morticia and all that. I love that. That's great. But the rest of the season was very much about the mystery and Wednesday and, her friends and figuring shit out because the show's called Wednesday. And season 2, I don't want to give the impression that she's been, like she's sidelined in her own show. It's nothing like that. She's very much at the center. She's very much there. But there's so much more going on that I found it difficult to keep up with at times. And so anyways, the point I'm making is that, sometimes, building universes can be tricky, and you don't want to get too big, because sometimes just go with what works and don't get too big. Like, I hope they don't go too big with Wednesday season 3, because it's Wednesday. I don't want like 900 different plots going on and all this kind of stuff. And I have read there are a lot of people that love season 2 better than season 1, but there are some people that feel it's a step down. Maybe for some of the reasons that I've said. Maybe it'll be a Stranger Things kind of thing, right? Where season 1 was incredible. Season 2 was a bit, not that it was crap. Season 2 of Stranger Things wasn't crap, but we all agree it kind of went, a little more of this, And then they came back with a vengeance in season 3. Maybe season 3 of Wednesday is going to be like, oh my God, it's fucking incredible. Maybe it'll be incredible. I don't know. But anyways, it's just something that I know it might be kind of weird hearing me talk about Wednesday, but I really dig the show. I'm really enjoying it, and just watching it for its craftsmanship, the acting, the performances, the story's great, and Ortega, she's exceptionally talented. I knew that when I watched her in Scream. I was like, and this is before she was really anybody. She was in Scream, yes, and like in a couple Disney things. And then since then, she's gone on to become a bona fide, one of the hot young actresses today. So she's great. And everybody's great. It's brilliantly cast. It's fun. It's a fun show. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I think you'd enjoy it. But yeah, sometimes I think you can build a universe too big, where you lose sort of the heart of the universe. You know what I mean? You don't want to build it so big where there's so many different characters and so many different plot lines and so many different stories and this and all that kind of stuff, where you lose kind of the nucleus and the heart of the story. And that's why I was like I'm all for, expanding. You have to. You can't just do the same small thing every season. I get it. But I hope, we must not lose sight of the fact that the show is called Wednesday, not the Addams Family. You know what I mean? And so we got to make sure that she's still the driving force. It's the trials and tribulations. It's Nancy Drew meets Stranger Things meets Harry Potter. That's what this is. You know what I mean? And, at no point did Harry Potter's mom and dad and the family, and all of a sudden there's like B and C. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, season 2 is great. Don't get me wrong. Season 2 is very good. But I did find it a bit big at times, and sometimes you can make maybe a universe too big. I don't know, but that's me. But yeah, Wednesday is it's a pretty fun show. I'm not gonna lie, I really like it, and Ortega is electric in it. She's great. She nails it. Al Grandius, $5. If Halloween had flopped, which movie do you think would have become the slasher blueprint instead? Oh, probably Friday the 13th, or Elm Street. One of those two, probably. Josh Stevens sends in a member chat. Thank you, Josh. As previously someone asked, which movies most deserve a remake? One I've always thought is The Last Starfighter, 84. Yeah, hey, Nick Castle, director. An intergalactic recruiting tool found in an arcade game, plus an H2 alumni. Yeah, Yeah. Well, I know there was always rumors of them doing a sequel to it. And I think Nick might have been on as a producer or something, but I don't think it ever came to fruition, unfortunately. All the good names are taken. Thank you very much. Says, can't wait for the John Candy documentary. I agree with you. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. John Candy, Canadian legend, born here in Toronto. Well, Newmarket, Ontario, but it's a suburb of Toronto. And I think that's the same place where Jim Carrey was born, actually. A lot of Canadian comedic icons were born in this area. Mike Myers, John Candy, Jim Carrey, Martin Short. Pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, for sure. I had a chance to meet John Candy, but I didn't go because I had to go to bed because I was too young. My dad has met him a couple of times, actually, but it was the early 90s. So I was maybe it was 89 or something. I can't remember now. I was like 10 or 11. And my brother Neil went with my dad because he's 9 years older than me. So he went, and because my dad was covering some sort of event and John Candy was going to be there. And yeah, so my brother Neil got to speak with him and talk to him about, I think he had just finished Uncle Buck or something, and he was starting early pre-production or early talks on, I think, Only the Lonely and Delirious or something like that. Because I remember Neil talking about those movies, and nobody, and of course, this is pre-internet, right? And I remember him mentioning those movies, and nobody had heard of those movies before. And then like a year or two later, there they are, right? But by all accounts, a sweetheart of a guy. And I wish yeah. I mean, you don't know he's going to die like 3 years later, right? But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think it's going to be awesome. Brandon Collins says, I think you're really missing out by not watching Andor, Dave. It really is one of the best TV series ever made. And the whole Star Wars of it is all incidental. Well, I could be. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but unfortunately I just don't care enough to sit down and commit time to it, which is awful, really, if you think about it. And that's not a reflection of me saying I think it's crap, not at all. That's more of where my interest is and my motivation, which says what it says, I guess. I don't know. Let me see here. They just need to retcon everything after episode 1 to 6 for Star Wars, to be honest. I disagree. I think you make your bed and you sleep in it. I don't think the sequel trilogy is nearly as bad as people say it is, but it's not good either. And it's not that they're not competently made. It fell apart. And I don't know if this is just groupthink mentality. And again, this is my opinion. Brandon Collins will disagree, of course. But I don't think although I think Brandon will agree on this point, of course, that the backlash for the sequel trilogy did not start with The Force Awakens. Now, there were people that didn't like The Force Awakens, thought they played it too safe, right? Oh, another Death Star, played it too safe. Sure. There were those. But it was the best looking, feeling, sounding, smelling, tasting Star Wars movie we'd ever seen. And I say this with all due respect. If you're younger than me and you grew up with the prequel trilogy, then that is your Star Wars. right? If you were like 7 or 8 when those films came out, that's what those movies for you were, what the original trilogy was for me. And so I respect that you love them, adore them. I'm not saying you specifically. I just mean you in general, because there's a lot of people that do. But I'm old enough to remember, and this is not hyperbolic, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. When those movies came out, they were, for the most part, loathed by Star Wars fans. And the term George Lucas ruined my childhood, have you heard that before? That's because of the prequels. That's because of the prequels. Now, I disagree with that, okay? But the reason that term became a thing is because of the backlash to the Star Wars prequels. They were not beloved. They were not well-liked. Maybe by children. Maybe. Sure. Yeah, if you're 7, yeah, of course. Oh my God, amazing. You know, but if you were 22 or 25 or 30, no. You were like, what the hell is this shit? And most people loathed them. And it was for a number of reasons. Story, it was too, it didn't feel real, too CG, it didn't feel tangible, all this kind of stuff. When The Force Awakens came out, it was a return to form. I remember Bob Iger doing an interview where he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, one of the things about The Force Awakens was we felt because of where I remember saying on a show one time that in 2014, Star Wars was dead. And I got backlash for that from people that were probably 7 or 8 when the prequels came out. Yes, because to you it wasn't dead. And that's fair. But when I say that Star Wars was dead, it's because nobody cared. Nobody liked them. When I say nobody, I'm obviously people did. But generally speaking, nobody liked them. That's why, you hear all the shit you hear about in terms of the prequels, right? And it doesn't mean they didn't have redeeming qualities. The soundtracks were amazing. The BTS featurettes were not even a featurette. The BTS documentaries were amazing. The lightsaber battles are amazing, of course. But overall, the films were loathed. And Bob Iger said, again, I'm paraphrasing, in order to get things back on track, to instill trust in the Star Wars audience, in those that, were shunned away, we felt we needed to take a step back to go forward. So what does he mean by that? Well, he means deliver something familiar, not completely. Listen, for those that say that The Force Awakens is literally a beat-for-beat remake of A New Hope, well, it literally isn't. There's parallels, yes, and maybe too many parallels for some. Fair enough. But for the first time in my adult life, I watched a Star Wars movie that looked like a Star Wars movie, felt like a Star Wars movie, smelt like a Star Wars movie, had the nostalgia feels. It was great. And an interesting story that was being set up. But yes, The Force Awakens, some people felt it played too safe. Where the sequel trilogy failed was not with The Force Awakens. I was there. I remember it. You were there. It wasn't with The Force Awakens. There wasn't the vitriol and the backlash and the toxicity with The Force Awakens. It wasn't. It did what it needed to do. It did what it needed to do. It wasn't perfect for some. Maybe it wasn't everything but it did what it needed to do. And then came The Last Jedi. Oh boy. That's the movie. Generally speaking, there's people that love it, but generally speaking, that's where the backlash and the toxicity and the vitriol began. And then it only carried over into The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I like The Rise of Skywalker more than The Last Jedi because I think J.J. Abrams has better Star Wars sensibilities in terms of that pop culture-y, mainstream Star Wars like The Force Awakens than Rian Johnson did. Rian Johnson was too avant-garde, too, artsy-fartsy. It was too Halloween Ends, right? Why are we doing this? JJ should have done all 3, really. And so, yes, The Rise of Skywalker felt like 2 movies in one because it was. It felt disjointed because it was. But it was fucking far more entertaining and fun to watch than The Last Jedi, in my opinion. And there were some cool moments. The Death Star, that battle on the Death Star was really cool. There was some cool. I like the idea of Rey being a Palpatine. I've always liked that. But really, they should have done 9 and 10. They should have done 2 more movies, broken the trilogy aspect and maybe flesh it out a bit more. So, but the point I'm making is that you can't erase it, and Disney's not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They just may never make another one connected to that timeline in terms of that story. But they're not going to do what Halloween does. Halloween's like one of the only only for franchises that do that. You know what I mean? I know there's others, but Halloween's notorious for it. So, and you know what? I know it sounds like it's impossible now, but if you had asked me in 2005, this question, I would have said you're fucking nuts. All it's going to take is Disney to make Star Wars movies that are worse than the sequels. And all of a sudden the sequels will be looked at and go, well, not that bad. I know you think, no, there's no way. Listen, I'm just saying. But yeah, no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Did I get all the, there was only a couple of super chats that came in, right? I think it was just a couple that came in. Yeah, I got that. Brandon says, George Lucas sold Lucasfilm because of the way the fans treated him after the prequels and Indiana Jones and the King of the Crystal Skull. He gave up on film because the fans broke his heart. That is true. That's not hyperbolic. He has talked about that. That's the kind of vitriol. And now imagine if social media had existed if The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith came out. Imagine if that was today. There's a whole documentary called The People versus George Lucas. Like, George received a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit. So I respect those who have fond memories of the prequels. It is either because you were a child when they came out, and of course, you're 6. Of course you're going to love it. Oh my God, look, shoo, 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 shoo. Of course you're saying, and I say that with all due respect, right? Like, you're a kid, right? Of course. Or you were an adult that just for whatever reason really enjoyed them. But I will always challenge the official narrative that, no, the prequels, because there are some people who go, no, the prequels were always awesome. No, maybe to you, but no, the general consensus was not that the prequels were amazing. No, the general consensus was the prequels ruined. And this is not hyperbolic. Brandon can back me up on this. This is not hyperbolic. The general consensus back in the day was the prequels ruined, destroyed, and killed Star Wars. Like, that was it. Like, how you feel about the sequels right now, that was where it was in 2005 with the prequels. There just was no social media. And you might have been 6. I'm not sure. But it was crazy. It was crazy. Now you deliver something that people think is worse, and all of a sudden the prequels... But time will do that. I guarantee you in 20 years from now, there might be some big think piece on, The Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker and how, they're not that bad. Not great, but they're not that... It happens sometimes with these kinds of things. It happens. Hey, Dave, don't know if you're going to see this, but I'm a longtime fan from Florida. What's going on, buddy? I've been watching since 2018 and always use 2 dudes to listen to fall asleep and to All Love, bro. Amazing. You got over 200 episodes, so that's 200 sleeps. That's almost a year. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. That's awesome, man. Thank you for being a longtime viewer. I appreciate that. Let me see here. Let me see. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Daz. I get what you're saying, but they kind of did that with Darth Vader too, right? I mean, he was the chosen one, but I'll just say this. With Kylo Ren, I don't like that they kissed. I think that's just ridiculous. And they did shoot a version where they didn't. And I think that's the one they should have gone with. But they caved to the pressure of Reylo. At least he died. He had to die. That was the sacrifice, right? He had to die. He couldn't live after all the murders he'd committed. It's like, Vader. He can't live. All the people he's murdered, planets he's destroyed. But Kylo Ren, though, I will say that Adam Driver was fantastic in the role. He was great. There's a lot of good stuff in all three of those movies, even The Last Jedi, which I think is the worst one out of the three. There's good stuff. There's good stuff. And that usually is the case when you watch, movies that you're not fond of. There's always good stuff in it, but it was, I'll say this. Had J.J. Abrams done all three, because The Rise of Skywalker is, J.J. Abrams gets such shit. He gets such flack. But you know what? I'm just going to say it, and I couldn't give a frog's fat ass if you agree with me or not. I think he's a really good filmmaker. And now when I say really good, I don't mean he's Kubrick. I just mean that I think he gets a lot of shit for The Rise of Skywalker. And right or wrong, it was trying to fix a lot of the shit that Johnson did with The Last Jedi. That may not have been the right thing to do. But had he done all three, to Brandon's point, maybe they wouldn't have been as in depth as the adult fans wanted. Maybe they wouldn't have been. But I guarantee you, if Abrams had done all three, we probably would be talking a very different tune to the sequel trilogy. We might be going, yeah, you know what? It was okay. Like overall, I mean, maybe I would have loved it, every one. But the general consensus might have been, it was all right. It was all right. I mean, it wasn't like crazy, reinventing, but it was all right. Like it got the thing back on track in the three movies. It was all right. Because, how soon we forget, JJ got Mission Impossible back on track. He did Mission Impossible 3. Mission Impossible was dead. It was dead. He got Mission Impossible back. He got Star Trek back. If you look at now, everybody has a bad day at the office. I get that. But if you look at the movies he's done, he's not Ed Wood. Mission Impossible 3, Star Trek Into Darkness, which I actually liked. A lot of people didn't, but I liked it. Super 8, The Force Awakens. He's not a terrible filmmaker by any stretch of the imagination. Now he's got another one coming out. Speaking of Jenna Ortega, she's going to be in, I think this is why when you see Jenna Ortega lately in press junkets and interviews, her eyebrows, she's got no eyebrows. She looks like Mia Goth, like they could be sisters. Her eyebrows are dyed. At first I thought she'd shaved them. And then there was a close-up of her in an interview, and I'm like, oh, no, they're still there. They're just dyed blonde. And I think it is for a role, and I think it's for the movie she just finished shooting with J.J. Abrams, or she's in the middle of shooting. And I think it's called The Ghost Rider or something like that. There's not a lot in terms of details and plot, but J.J.'s back. He's going to be directing this movie, or he is, and it'll probably be out next year, maybe. I don't know. And I'm looking forward to it. I like J.J. Abrams as a director. I do. I don't think The Rise of Skywalker is awful by any stretch of the imagination, but it isn't what it should have been. And J.J. could only do so much because of the middle chapter. Unlike what Rian Johnson did, which was throw everything J.J. did out, J.J. was like, well, okay. J.J. came in and tried to, I wish he had done all three. Because I think there would be a lot more linear consistency between everything. And let's just put it this way. If J.J. Abrams had delivered 3 Force Awakens, right, we'd be singing a different tune. And what I mean by that is in terms of how well they're received, right? In terms of how well they're received. Not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to like it, of course. But if he had delivered 3 competently made Star Wars movies that were a lot of fun, had a good story, good characters, we'd be singing a different tune. And no avant-garde rug being pulled out like, what? Nothing. I mean, maybe Palpatine and all that, sure. But yeah, I think it's yeah. Anyways, that's what I have to say on that. Daniel Day-Lewis returning to acting. Yeah, Ryan, I like Daniel Day-Lewis, but he's not one of my favorite actors or anything, but good for him. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Hope he gets nominated again and takes the record or something. Rey beating Kylo with zero training was laughable. You know, I think, how do I say this? It's like I get what people say. One thing I'm going to say too, and it's just, you thing reminded me of something I'm going to say. And it's probably going to piss a lot of people off, but it's true. I get what George Lucas means when he says this. And I think what ends up happening is that, okay, so George Lucas has often said that these movies are for children. And I think that really pisses off a lot of people my age, maybe a little bit younger, a little bit older, you know, in that 40 to 55, 60 range. It pisses a lot of people off because it makes them feel like he's diminishing their love of just being kiddie. It's just kiddie stuff. But you have to remember, when did you get into Star Wars? When you were a kid. Who got into who was enamored with? It's not that it didn't appeal to everybody. It's not that everybody couldn't enjoy it, right? Like how I enjoy Wednesday, right? I enjoy Wednesday, but kids are going to enjoy it a lot more, right? You know, but I enjoy it. Of course I enjoy it. Maybe that's too extreme. That's a little bit of horror, but the point I'm making is that he said that and everybody got their feathers in a ruffle over it. And I think what ends up happening is that a lot of Star Wars, whether consciously or unconsciously, and if Lucas had been in charge, like some of the ideas he had for episode 7, you know, sounded very family, kid-friendly again. The reason why so many adults love Andor is because it's adult Star Wars. That's why. Because you're an adult and you want adult material. But Star Wars was never adult. When you look at going back, right, to the original 3 movies. Now, Empire was dark. It had dark themes for sure. Again, let's not do a false equivalency here. Two things can be true at the same time. But overall, they were very family, kid friendly. And that's what George Lucas means. He doesn't mean they're for like toddlers. He just means that Star Wars was always supposed to be family, kid friendly. They're kid movies like Labyrinth or, The Neverending Story. Like in that vein is like the original, like in that vein, that fantasy, that's why kids love them. That's why My Brothers, when the first one came out, when the first one came out, my brother Neil was 7. My brother Bob was 9. They love them. Why? Because they're 9 and 7. You know what I mean? When I was born in 79 and I got into them, in the early 80s because I was 4 and 5 and that's why I loved them, and when you got into the prequels, when you loved the prequels, why? Because you were 6 and 7 and 9 and 8 and that's why, because you know what I'm saying? And so there is something to be, I understand what he means when he says that. He's not saying it's My Little Pony. He doesn't mean that. He just means that, hang on a sec, Star Wars in his mind was never meant to be like Andor. It was never meant to be this serious drama. It was never meant to be like that, right? But I think what's happened is that Star Wars, Disney, they realize, wow, we have, I don't want to say that, we have, all those children are now men. And so we have to be careful how, like, for example, I watched Skeleton Crew. Loved it. Because I tapped into the child in me. Do you know how many people I know didn't like it? No, it was okay. If you were 6, you would have loved it. That was Star Wars 50 years ago. I mean, not centered around kids, but I'm just saying like that kind of whimsy and energy and you know what I mean? That's what it was. And if you were sick, but you don't love it now because you're 40. So you want Andor. You want something serious. You want like fucking Seven meets the House of Cards meets, Game of Thrones for Star Wars. You want very serious. Yeah. And so I think that's part of the problem too, is that we sometimes forget a lot of these fans with a lot of the childlike whimsy or a lot of the things that you would never have batted an eye of Kylo losing to Rey if you were 6, right? But you're 35, you're like, wait a minute, there's no training here. It's like, yeah, but she also is force sensitive and she closed her eyes right before. It's not like she went out there and just kicked his ass right away, right? I mean, she did get, her ass handed to her, right? And then she tapped into tapped into, and she was able to do something. Wow, what's going on here? It would have been very interesting to see where JJ would have taken that, right? I get what you're saying. But I just think we have to remember that it's not that Star Wars can't evolve and become serious. Like, don't misunderstand me, please. Like, I haven't seen Andor, but like, Brandon said, they're all about, being great and and I'm sure it is. But we must not lose sight that Star Wars at its nucleus, at its inception, it was a kid's movie. And I don't mean like My Little Pony. I just mean it was a family movie. The first thing my parents said when they went to see Star Wars, because they went to see it in 1977, just the two of them. I wasn't born yet. I was born in 79. And the first thing that my parents said when they walked out of the theater was, oh my God, we've got to go take the kids. Yeah, the kids are going to love it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think that's something, there's something to be said about watching something through the lens of when we were 6 and now being a fan of that same property when we're in our 40s or 50s. It's, and being like, well, wait a minute, that's not the way I remember it. It wasn't always, it was always like that. It's just you were 6, so you didn't, you know what I mean? That can happen. And it does happen. And it happens, with other things too. Anyways, I've rambled on here, but yeah. What's going on, Danita? Great to see you here. Danita. Mama. I don't agree that Rey was a Mary Sue. I don't agree that. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I understand why you come to that conclusion, but I disagree. Let me see here. What else we got? Nicholas Hollier says, hey Dave, what's your favorite Christmas movie? My favorite Christmas movie is One Magic Christmas. But I like a lot of Christmas movies, but that is my favorite one. One Magic Christmas, Ernest Saves Christmas, The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, Home Alone, Christmas Vacation. Santa Claus, the movie. I went to see that in the theater. My dad took me to see that. Yeah, there's some good ones out there. Nothing really of recent. Like, I'm not a big fan of Elf with, what's his face? Don't hate it or anything, but Black Christmas horror movie. It's a Christmas horror movie. No, I will not say Die Hard. I think there needs to be a different category. Because to me, Die Hard's not a Christmas movie. If you want to say Die Hard's a Christmas action movie, okay. But I think you got to make that distinction. I don't think you can say Die Hard's just a Christmas movie. Because as I've said many times, to me, a Christmas movie, the commonality over Christmas movies is that the season itself, the Christmas season itself, becomes the vehicle of why there is change in our character, right? So it is the season that allows the story, whatever the journey is for our character, to learn about being selfless instead of selfish, learning about what's really important in life and all that kind of stuff. And you can tell that through the season in many, many different ways. But as I've said many times, John McClane would have saved those people if it was Christmas or not. It takes place at Christmas time, yes. But it's not like if it wasn't Christmas and it was Easter, John would have been like, well, it had it been Christmas. No, it could have been the middle of a Monday in February and he would have done it. And so to me, Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, but if it is for you, that's fine. Again, it can be relative. Maybe you grew up with it with a parent and you always watched it at Christmas time. That's fine. But to me, a Christmas movie is very much where the season is a driving force. The season itself, not just Christmassy things like it takes place at Christmas time, but the season itself is driving the narrative. How I would never refer to Black Christmas as a Christmas movie. Not at all. You could say it's a Christmas horror movie, and that would be true. So maybe we should say Die Hard is a Christmas action movie, because then it gives just that little bit of, oh, okay. So that tells us that it's different than, One Magic Christmas, or Home Alone, where it's very clear that the season itself is the teaching mechanism and the catalyst that brings everything together, right? You know what I mean? That's very different, in my opinion, anyway. Though that too. Brandon says, Dave's favorite Christmas movie is the Elf Christmas Special. The film more depressing than Sophie's Choice. It is not. It is pretty heavy though. It is pretty heavy, and it dealt with some, why am I all the way over here? I don't know why. Talk about bad framing. It is pretty heavy. But it's good. It's good. It's really good. Dad says, I never once thought Die Hard was a Christmas movie until it became a cliche. Well, and here's the thing. And this is what I always say every year. And it's going to come up again. It comes up every year. If Die Hard was really a Christmas movie, I mean like truly a Christmas movie, like in the way that we know Christmas movies to be, right? Because it's like Christmas movies are like Christmas music. Right? Nobody argues if Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a Christmas song or not. It's clearly a Christmas song. Nobody argues whether deck the halls with boughs of holly, la 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 la. Nobody's arguing. Well, hang on a sec. I mean, nobody's debating that because it so clearly is. It's in its own category. Nobody's debating whether Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Ernest Saves Christmas, One Magic Christmas, The Santa Claus. Nobody debates whether these are Christmas movies. Why? Because they are clearly Christmas movies because of that commonality that I said about the season being the catalyst that is the driving force of the teachings of bringing our character from a position of selfish to selfless, right? And there's many ways you can do that. If Die Hard was really a Christmas movie in the ways that we know Christmas movies to be, the traditional Christmas movies, then we wouldn't be arguing it every year. It wouldn't be a debate. It happens every year. I guarantee you. This Christmas season, you're going to see write-ups on it again. I'm bloody disgusting. And over here and wherever. It's going to happen again. We wouldn't debate this every year if it was a Christmas. So maybe we should start saying, well, hang on. We can't compare Die Hard to the Santa Claus. You know what I mean? But maybe it's a different category, Christmas action movies. And what is the criteria for Christmas action movies? Well, they're Christmas movies, they're action movies that take place at Christmas time. So the Christmas season, although not a driving force into the lessons learned for our character, the Christmas season, music maybe, Christmas trees, bit of snow, play a big part of the set decoration and the backdrop to the otherwise wild, crazy heist shit that's going on. So it's a Christmas action movie. Okay. So you could throw Lethal Weapon in there. You throw Die Hard in there. And then maybe we have our own category. But I think to just call Die Hard a Christmas movie, like it sits on a shelf next to One Magic Christmas, or the Santa Claus, I'm just like, But that's me. I know a lot of people disagree with it, but that's me. Guitarist Dog says Eyes Wide Shut is a great. Yeah, because where does this end, right? If your litmus test is that a Christmas movie is just a movie that takes place at Christmas time, Well, then that's every movie that then that's every movie that takes place. Then that's everything that takes place at Christmas, right? You know? And I don't agree with that. Again, for me, a Christmas movie is a movie where the season itself plays a role in the teachings. I mean, look at Kevin McAllister, right? He goes from selfish to selfless. Look at Clark Griswold. He goes from selfish to selfless, right? That's a big component, and it's because of the seasons and the teachings and the memories and family and the nostalgia, and the backdrop of Christmas is people say, well, yeah, but he was going home to spend time with his wife at Christmas, and if it wasn't Christmas, he wouldn't be going home. It's like, yeah, but he wasn't. But it's not the season itself that is teaching John something. It's not the season itself that is teaching. Do you know what I mean? Like I guess it depends on what your litmus test is for a Christmas movie, because one of the big things about Christmas, even outside of the movies, right, is it's better to give than to receive. It's about family and love, and it's the season that reminds us of that. And again, John McClane would have saved Holly had it been May 8th. It's not like, well, it's Christmas, I better save my ex-wife. No, he would have done it no matter what. It just happened to be Christmas, And then there's a little bit of that air of, oh, we get together at the end and what a Christmas thing. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's cute. I get it. But I would never call it a Christmas movie. Christmas action movie? Okay. Well, again, Brandon, again, Die Hard has Christmas music throughout. There's jokes about Santa and the whole redemption arc with Al is rooted in the spirit of the holiday. Even Beethoven's Ninth is a Christmas-themed piece. True, but it ain't a Christmas movie to me. But it depends on what your litmus test is for Christmas movie, right? It's not a Christmas movie to me. Bah humbug, Dave. Well, hey, at least I can defend it, right? And people can defend it the other way too, right? But at least I can defend it and say, hey, for me, this is the criteria of what a Christmas movie is, like what a Christmas song is, right? And I would never call something that mentioned sleigh bells in a song a Christmas movie, or, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be very specific. And the criteria for me, again, not to beat a dead horse, is the season itself is the teaching for the character. And the season itself was not the teaching for John McClane. It was the events. It was the events. And those events, the same, John McClane and Holly would have ended up in the same position at the end of the movie if it was Christmas or not. If it was May 8th, it would have played out the same way. Maybe not with Christmas music, but the narrative itself would have played out the same way. And so, yeah, but that's me. That's me. Warren Armour says, I heard Kevin Costner is thinking about getting The Bodyguard 2 made. Haven't heard that. Why? That'd be dumb. Josh says, okay, so A Christmas Carol is a Christmas ghost story, and Scrooge is a Christmas horror comedy. But when you look at Scrooged, and I think it's okay to call, yes, you could do that, but in both movies, they start out selfish and end up selfless. Right? In Scrooge, I think they do, right? Or he does, I think. Like, that's a common theme. That's a very, very common theme. And so, had John McClane been like, fuck my bitch ex-wife, and then he was listening to, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of a new Savior's. And something about that song made me go, I got to go save my ex-wife. Okay, maybe it's a Christmas movie then. Fun stuff. What's the time? All right, we'll go a little bit longer. Josh Stevens, what's going on? Says, now that it's fall, do you have any horror film suggestions to kick off the season, especially one that most people might not have seen? A rarity. I don't. I don't know. It's a good question. I'll just say, if you have, well, it depends. I'll just say if you haven't seen Incident in a Ghostland, I'm always knocking on that door. I think that's a really good movie, really intense, with a twist you don't see coming. And it was one of those movies where I just read the blurb on Netflix like 4 years ago, and I had never seen it, never heard of it. I didn't watch a trailer. I just read the blurb and just hit play. And I really enjoyed it. Really, really good movie. So that one, if you haven't seen that one, watch that one. I really like that movie. The Ritual is really good from 2017. But I don't know any obscure ones. I don't think so. Like I don't have Shudder, so I don't watch a lot of like, you guys probably watch way more horror movies than I do. Like being honest, like you probably do. I don't watch a lot of, and you know, maybe I should, but I just don't. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I just haven't seen or haven't watched, but Incident in Ghostland was great. I enjoyed it anyway. I don't know. The Shining versus the Poltergeist. Which movie do you like better? They're two very different types of horror. I'd probably pick The Shining just because it's deeper and it's layered. But Poltergeist is awesome. But it's a different. It's not a psychological horror, so it's very different. You know. Yeah, it's very different. It's kind of like saying, you know, do you like Hereditary or, you know, I don't know. I can't think of anything now. But yeah, no, I probably would pick The Shining. But I love Poltergeist, one of my favorite movies. Calvonix, what's going on, Calvonix? Sends in $5. Says, happy to say The Conjuring Last Rites was a big step up from the third one in my eyes. Okay. All right. Good to know, man. Good to know. Yeah, I haven't gone to see it. I probably won't. I'll wait till it comes to streaming. But I am definitely going to watch it. And it's made over $400 million at the worldwide box office. It's an absolute juggernaut. So they're probably going to make another one. Absolutely incredible. Just wild. But good to know. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Guitarist Dog 87 says, Dave, if I remember correctly, was it your older brother that was the Iron Maiden fan? I've been on a Maiden kick lately. Great band. Well, I have two older brothers, and it was, I think, more my brother Bob, who was an Iron Maiden fan, I think. But maybe Neil was too. I'm not sure. But yes. Yeah, it was one of them or both. Yeah. Poltergeist is Spielberg's film. Let's not go down that rabbit hole again. Warren Armour says, how is the house on Port Robinson Road pre-development going? Are you starting to pitch the film to major studios? What's your next move? No. So the next move is to do a budget breakdown and figure out how much it's going to cost. That's one of the next things to do. The campaign is still up, still there. We're in demand now. So don't forget, folks, to pick up that Bloodbath double feature. There's only 13 left, and I'd love to sell it out. We're working towards our stretch goals now. So, no, it's a long road, Armour. It's a long road. These things don't happen overnight. You don't just, call up a studio and say, I want to pitch something to you. That's not how it works. So, these things take a lot of time. But our package has to be as attractive as possible, and we have to know certain things, and we'll see what happens. There's a few things that are sort of on the burner, but that I can't talk about at the moment. And we'll see what happens with that. Fingers crossed for that. But yeah, no, it's not, it doesn't move that quickly. It doesn't move that quickly. So there's still a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, no, you don't just call somebody up or send an email saying, hey, I have a great idea. Otherwise, everybody and their dog would be doing that. Alex Shambach says, do you like Trick or Treat? I've never seen it. It's an annual watch for me and truly unparalleled in Halloween autumn aesthetic. Yeah, I've never seen it. Heard of it. I mean, I know what it is, but have not seen it. Have not seen it. How do you feel about the Alberta situation? Alberta situation? And the possible split apart from Western Canada from the East? That's politics. We don't talk politics here on the channel. Brandon Collins says, I try to keep my package as attractive as possible too. As you do, I know. I mean, we gotta, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Dave's next movie is a vacation in Hawaii. No, I've never been to Hawaii though. I'd love to go, but no. Let me scroll back. Sleepy Hollow is great for horror for the fall. It is. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But that's a good movie. That's with Christina Ricci and Johnny Depp, right? That's the one you're talking about, right? I think it's her. That's good. That's good. I remember that came out. Was it Ricci? Or was she in From Hell? Or was she in From Hell? Which one was she? Or maybe she was in both. There was From Hell, and then there was... I can't remember now. Huh. Anyways. I can't remember. Let me see. Evil Alex says, so if you take out Christmas out of Die Hard, it still works. Would Halloween still work on any other day? Michael breaking out murder babysitters. Well, it depends on how far you want to go with it, right? And so Halloween is built, it's not the same kind of thing. Halloween is built into the foundation of the Michael Myers story because he murdered her sister on Halloween night. And he breaks out of the Santa. So Halloween is very much a part of this mystery with Michael Myers. We don't know why, but it's very much part of that mystery. Could you make a similar movie and not have it on Halloween? Well, of course you can. It's been done. But with Michael, it's very much tied to it. Die Hard's not tied to Christmas, which is why, there have been Die Hard movies that haven't taken place on Christmas. Like Die Hard with a Vengeance, for example, is not at Christmas time, right? And so it's not integral to the foundation of what Die Hard is. There's reasons, you know what I mean? Whereas Halloween is. We just don't know why. It's part of the mystery. Let me see here. Brandon says, Ricci was in Sleepy Hollow. Heather Graham was in From Hell. Okay, thank you. Yeah. And Ricci is in Wednesday as well. She's great in it. Obviously, she was Wednesday in the Addams Family movies in the early 90s, and she has a different role in Wednesday, and she's great. Yeah, it's funny. I really enjoyed Wednesday a lot. It sounds so funny to say because, everybody else is watching The Conjuring and all these things and, all these other kind of shows and, Ed Gein. And I'm like, I'm going to watch Wednesday. I liked it. What can I say? Sometimes it's nice to just chill out with something light and you don't have to think about it. It was good. I enjoyed it. Frankly speaking, Halloween during a solar eclipse would be cool. I think Halloween in the winter, and I don't mean in the dead of winter, like I've often said. If you live in the Northeast, if you live in the Midwest, if you live in Canada, although it doesn't, it's not super common, it's not unprecedented to get a, freaky, freak, I should say, not freaky, a freak snowfall in and around Halloween. Now, it doesn't stay. It's not like it snows on Halloween and then it's just winter all the way to April. It'll usually melt within a day or two. But I remember some Halloweens where there was snow on the ground. I don't mean 30 inches of snow, but I mean enough to cover the ground. And I think that would be cool. maybe they don't do it because Halloween isn't typically associated with snow, and I get that. But my argument would be that, yeah, but it's Haddonfield, Illinois. And if you live in Illinois, you know you get fucking crazy-ass winters. And you know it's not unprecedented. It has happened to get snow in and around or even on Halloween. Why not? That would be fun. So you keep it at Halloween. And imagine the orange pumpkins, that orange against the white snow, the red blood on the snow, the flickering candlelight on the white. I mean, that would be really cool. And you build it into the narrative. You don't just do it and don't acknowledge it, because you have to acknowledge it for people who don't live in that, part of the continent, because they'd be like, I don't get it. So you build in the narrative where it's like, wow, there's like news reports where it's like, there's going to be this freak snowstorm that's going to come and it's going to hit on like October 30th or whatever. You build it into the narrative so that when it happens, it's totally justified. It's properly motivated. You could totally do that. I think that'd be cool. Frank says, yeah, Halloween hurricane or massive flood. Could you imagine? That'd be funny. Next Gen says, I think a Smith's Grove prison break movie set in real time during a storm would be cool. For an episode, maybe. I don't know about a whole series on that, but maybe for an episode. Justin Hill says, the mask and the shadows and blended in with the snow. Oh my God. Plus all the other elements and how it can play into the victims either getting away or not. Exactly. That'd be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun. And you could totally now it would up your budget, because if it's not actually, you're not using real snow, which would probably be the case. You have to have snow machines, and those are not inexpensive. And you always have, now you'd have better control with the snow machines because you have control. I mean, you're not relying on real snow, and therefore you're at the mercy of the temperature and the weather, right? But yeah, I think it would be cool if there's like a snowstorm comes Halloween night and the kids are all inside. Families are all home. They're all inside their homes. Why? Because of a freak snowstorm. It's a blizzard out there. Oh, and Michael is out there. And he's going from house to house. That would be really cool, man. That would be really cool. I think that'd be really cool. Ryan Osher says, does that mean that Halloween 2 count as a Christmas movie like Die Hard is considered one? Halloween 2, a Christmas movie? What? That Halloween 2 count as a Christmas movie? Why would Halloween 2 count as a Christmas movie? I'm sorry, I'm kind of lost. Let me see here. Yeah, it would. It'd cost a fortune. Absolutely cost a fortune. I always thought that an Indiana Jones movie set in the Arctic with a love. Okay. Yeah. But it's just are you going to shoot on location, or it'd be difficult. It'd be difficult to do. But what are my thoughts on Michael never harms babies? I think he never harms babies because I think the writers don't want Michael killing babies. I don't think there's any reason why he doesn't do it. It's because I think it's classless and tasteless to show Michael murdering babies. That's why. Although Damien Leone's not going to turn it away. Maybe he draws a line at babies, but children, why not? Let's do it. Rip those fucking kids apart. Did I get all the super chats and member chats? I just want to make sure. There wasn't too many that came in, but I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any. Okay. Okay. No, I got that. Got that. Oh, Frank just sent one in. We got 19 inches of snow on Halloween in 2011. It was part of a northeastern snow and autumn. It was part of a northeastern snow and autumn leaves don't mix. 8 people died. If you got that, I wonder if we got that. I don't remember a snowstorm. No, we didn't, because I remember what I was doing on Halloween 2011. So you're close enough to me where we could get the same system, but you're far enough away where we could also get different systems as well. No, we had full on fall. It was full on fall. But that's my point, right? There you go, right there. 19 inches. That's not a dusting of snow, folks. That's a hardcore a lot of snow. That's pretty cool. Josh Stevens says, Dave, I also think the holiday was essential to Halloween, is that it also gives a subtle hint into the character of Myers, wears a mask, goes door to door at night, plays tricks on people. For sure. Oh, 100%. You're absolutely right. And it was fantastic of Erwin Yablans to suggest to set it on Halloween, because that way it's totally justified why this killer could be walking around in broad daylight with a mask on. Well, it's just Halloween. No, it was really good. It was really good. But the Halloween season is built into the bedrock, into the foundation, into the soil, into the roots, into the earth of Halloween, of the story. It's not quite the same as Christmas and Die Hard, whereas Christmas is a backdrop. So obviously if it takes place at Christmas time, it makes sense that you're going to hear Christmas music, see Christmas things, people reference Christmas, of course, right? So anytime somebody says, but what about the ho, 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 now I have a machine gun, or now I have a machine, ho, ho, I now have a machine gun, or, the Christmas music, or the mention of Christmas, or the Christmas party, I always say, well, yeah, it makes sense, because the movie is taking place at Christmas. They're not trying to hide that. But for me, that doesn't mean it's a Christmas movie for me. That's a different kind of thing. But anyway, I don't want to go down that again. But that's crazy, Frank. 19 inches of snow. Wow. That's crazy. Scared Straight Production says, I want them to do a Scream movie during Christmas time. That would be cool. I'm kind of surprised they haven't, because Scream is not beholden to a time of year. Neither is Elm Street, really. Friday, of course, you got the summer camp and all that kind of stuff, so it's summer. Halloween is fall. But Scream, you're right, could be technically any time of year. That would be cool. That would be cool. Again, anytime you bring weather into a project, it ups your budget. So if you want it to be realistic, like if you want the Christmas season to be a huge backdrop, it'll always up your budget. Anytime you bring weather in, it's going to up your budget. Like I've made no secrets about this. There's a thunderstorm in the house on Port Robinson Road. Well, just by virtue of having that in the script increases the budget, right? Because that means, rain towers and water, and when you have water and electricity, you gotta, and that means a whole new set of specialists and crew members and all that kind of stuff. And so it immediately, when you bring weather into any situation, any television show, any movie, your budget will go up automatically. Now, how much it goes up, well, depends on the complexity of the scene and how much of it we're seeing, or, whatever the case is. For the house on Port Robinson Road, I can tell you it's a very big component to this part, this certain part of the film. And so, that will increase it, And so if you want to shoot a Scream movie in the winter, whether it's real snow or not, your budget's going to go up. You got to think about that, and so, but that would be cool to see. Oh, Frank's put in the Wikipedia link here. Awesome. Yeah, there it is. Oh, the 1991 blizzard. 1991. You said 2011, or did I read that wrong? The Wikipedia article you gave me said, is this two different things? Did you mean 1991? The article you gave me said the 1991 Halloween blizzard was a powerful storm that caused a period of heavy downfalls. So yeah, we probably got that. Maybe. Yeah, I'm looking at the radar. It's covering like all of North America. Not all of it, but almost. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. A freak storm. A freak storm would be really cool. Would be really cool. Dave's brewing up mood and atmosphere. Oh, yeah. Oh, the house on Port Robinson Road is, and again, I know I'm biased. I'm the writer. I get it. But you know me. It's seeping with mood and atmosphere. Because that's the kind of, I like to, the house on Port Robinson Road is the kind of movie that I've written the kind of movie I would love to watch. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, no, there's a lot of mood and atmosphere in it. But it's not found footage. It's not a slasher movie. I only say that because I think most people know now it's not a slasher, but I have had to correct some people who have mistakenly thought that there's found footage in it or a found footage component, because obviously it's about kids who are quote unquote, and I put in air quotes because it's not really what's going on. But they're ghost hunting and whatever, and so people think, oh, it's found footage. Is it like Blair Witch? No, it's not even, it's nothing like Blair Witch. It's just a regular narrative film. And so, yeah. And, it's much larger than the Don't EVP as well. There's a whole story that I've written around it. Here we go. So this is different. Thank you, Brandon, for this one. The Halloween Nor'easter. Halloween Nor'easter. Yeah. Sometimes referred to as snowbitters. Okay. Yeah. Hang on. Let me look at did we get, no, I know we didn't get it because I remember Halloween 2011. Yeah. I'm looking at that photo from 2011. That's what I mean. Let me just save this. That's a great photo, actually. Let me just save this. I'm going to bring this into the thing. This is what I'm fucking talking about. There's no reason why you can't do this other than I know it's not traditional. It's breaking with theme. And, whether Malik would want it, approve it, I don't know. Maybe it's too risky. But look at this. Look at this photo right here. This is from 2011 in the U.S., northeastern United States. That is October 31st, Halloween. That's what I mean. A freak storm shows up. Look at the fall leaves with the pumpkin and the snow. You could totally do that. You could totally do it. And you build it into the narrative. It's Halloween, Michael Myers, and it's something different. And that's not going to, people would love that. As long as it's properly motivated and all the kids, like nobody can go, and the power goes out. Imagine that. The power goes out because of the storm and the ice, and the kids can't go trick-or-treating. It's canceled because it's too cold and snowy. The roads are closed. They're not expecting it because, you could totally build a narrative of isolation. You could build a very claustrophobic narrative of isolation where all these families are fucking sitting ducks. They're just sitting ducks. You could totally do that. And, yeah, it's interesting. But I don't know if they'll ever do it, but I think it's kind of cool. Brandon says we got 32 inches in Massachusetts just on that storm. Had no power for a week. It was a freak weather event. Yeah. And I think that would be cool. It breaks from tradition a little bit, but you can still marry the tradition. Have pumpkins, Michael in the snow, blood in the snow. There's a film festival called Blood in the Snow. That'd be cool. Justin Hill says, and it doesn't have to be the whole movie. The first part of the movie can have a true fall feel. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But at some point that evening, towards the end of the middle of the movie, a powerful snowstorm. Exactly. A powerful snowstorm hits. Exactly, Justin. 100%. I agree. Yeah. You know, yeah, exactly. You build up to it. You build up to it. I think that'd be cool. Okay. What are we going on here? All right. Go over there. Okay, I'll look at that later. Hang on, I'm just closing these tabs now. I got all these tabs open. There we go. All right. Bodies discovered when the snow melts, says Frank. Yes. That'd be cool, man. That'd be cool. Brandon says the tree still had leaves, and that's why it's caused so many power outages. Yes, we were shut down at work the whole time. All my ex-wife did was complain, perhaps. Evil Alex says we had Hobo Myers and Kung Fu. Snow wouldn't be that crazy. I don't even think I would compare it to that. It's still, he would look the same. He'd look exactly the same. And as Justin said, the movie doesn't begin like that. That's the storm that happens on Halloween. But you could start the movie on October 20th if you wanted to. Like, you could still reel in that fall atmosphere with those leaves and pumpkin and all that kind of stuff. And it's just all of a sudden, like a day or two, you hear on the news, there's this storm that's coming. You know what I mean? And it's got double meaning. A storm that's coming, but Michael's also a storm that's coming. There's like a few different layers there, you know? I think that'd be pretty cool. Let me see here. Next Gen says, how do you think Halloween 2 would be seen today if they had gone the route of ends, but with Laurie? Michael stays missing, but exposes the idea of the shape. Halloween 2 would be seen today if they had gone the route of ends, but with Laurie. Oh, you mean like Laurie becomes the killer? I don't think it would have taken. I don't think audiences... I think it would have been too cerebral, I think, at that time. Yeah. I don't think it would have worked. Frozen pumpkins and icicles as weapons. Yeah. Michael Myers takes a frozen pumpkin and he could take a pumpkin anyway and do that. I'm surprised he hasn't killed somebody with a pumpkin yet. Out of all, maybe it's too cheesy? I don't know. Out of all the Halloween movies, we have yet to see Michael kill somebody with a pumpkin. Or would you even kill them with a pumpkin? Probably not. You would knock them out. Take a pumpkin that's already made up, you know, with a face on it, smash it over somebody's head, and that's the face that, you know, I don't think we've seen that. Has any Halloween-themed horror movie done that? I'm not sure. VO Tripper sends in $5. Thank you, VO Tripper. Says, hey, Dave, my apologies if I haven't been around recently. That's all right. You're not on the payroll. It's all right. I've been going through stuff recently. How have you been doing? I've been doing all right. Doing pretty good. Can't complain. I mean, I could complain, but what's the use in that? I hope you are doing well. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Dave, do you think Malick will ever relinquish control of Halloween? No. I sometimes think he has too much control over the franchise and what it can do. No, I don't think so. I think he sees it as the family business. It's been in his family for generations. I think he's probably hoping to pass it off to maybe one of his kids. I don't know. Or maybe he'll sell it before he dies. I'm not sure. But, you know, for better or worse, it's been the family business. The family business, you know. So, no, I don't think he's going to. I don't see it. Unless there was some offer that was made. Like there was some big offer that I'm making an offer you can't refuse. There's going to be some offer he can't refuse, maybe. But No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Aaron Click says, were you all talking about Snow in a Halloween movie? I'm not sure why people put Snow being in a slasher movie on such a high pedestal. It's Snow. Well, I can't speak for them, but for me, it has nothing to do with, for me, it's not that I would put it on a pedestal. I would just say that when you've done everything else, it's something new that hasn't been done before. And it is not unprecedented, as we were talking about, and even referring to some freak storms that have happened in the US and Canada, where snow has fallen on Halloween. And I was showing this picture right here, actually. That picture right there. That is October 31st, 2011. That I don't know where specifically that is, but it is somewhere in Canada or the States. And so it is not unprecedented for that kind of thing to happen. And I thought it would just, be cool to see that in a Halloween movie with Michael Myers. And you don't, as Justin Hill said, you don't start the movie like that. You start it a few days prior to Halloween, whatever. And so you get the typical traditional fall atmosphere, but you build it into the narrative where there's this freak storm that is coming. And it's like, oh my God. And then the kids can't go trick-or-treating and the power goes out. And now everybody's inside and, isolated, sitting ducks for Michael Myers. So it's not, for me, it's not so much about the snow itself is cool. It's more about just it being a different kind of backdrop that would be interesting to see. The orange pumpkins against the backdrop of the white snow. Of course, the red blood on the snow. Michael's mask, disappearing in the snow flurries. The white mask against the white snow, the disappearing of that. It's just an interesting sort of thing. And I think people don't give Halloween any or don't think it's possible with Michael Myers and Halloween, because Halloween traditionally, and rightly so, October, fall, orange leaves. Of course, it's the browns, the reds, the orange, and the yellows. I get it. Yes. And that is how Halloween is 99% of the time, especially in Illinois. But it's totally justified. So the argument can't be, I don't want snow in a Michael Myers movie on Halloween, because that would never happen. That's actually factually incorrect. It is absolutely possible, and has happened more than once, I might add, a freak storm on Halloween. So that it's a different kind of setting. It's kind of cool. It instills some new life into the environment, and you could play around with it a little bit. You know what I mean? And so I think it'd be kind of fun. But it wouldn't work for everybody. It would make no sense for certain things. Obviously, you don't do it just to do it, but you could do it with Halloween. I think it'd be kind of cool. That's me. Oh yeah, Aaron, it would have to be part of the story. It's not just set there with no explanation why there's 3 inches or 10 inches of snow on Halloween in October, right? It would have to be built into the narrative, because snow is so not traditional. You would have to build it into the narrative, or it would make no sense. So it would have to be that thing where, on the radio, on the news, there's a big storm that's coming. Oh my God. And so it's built into the narrative. Otherwise, yeah, it makes no sense. Why are we doing this, right? So it has to be justified. It'd be cool. Okay. Is it Halloween, though, if Michael isn't killing on Halloween? You mean like setting it on a completely different day? Well, when I say start the movie before Halloween, I don't mean that he's killing on it. Again, you could start the movie. It depends on what the story is. You could start the movie on October 27th. There's no Michael Myers. You're building up to it. Where is Michael Myers? Is he chained up? Is he in an asylum? Does nobody know where he is? I mean, I don't think Halloween Ends began on Halloween either, despite the beginning where we see, but I mean, did it? Did 18 begin on end or on Halloween, or was it the 30th? Anyways, you could begin it a few days prior and then build up to it. Michael doesn't have to be in your first frame in your first shot. V.O. Chapur, thanks, buddy, says, by the way, I heard about your film in the works, and I want to say that I'm really happy for you, and congrats. I hope someday I get my film out there too. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's in development. So early stages of development. So yeah, we'll see. Keeping the fingers crossed. We'll see where it goes. Got a long road ahead, but keeping the fingers crossed to see where it goes. That's right, Justin. Yes, because his story is rooted from Halloween. That's right. Well, even Halloween 3 opened up on what, like the 23rd or something? I think it opened up like a week before it. Like when you watch Halloween 3, when the year or when the date comes up on the screen, it says, I think it says October 20th or something like that. It's quite a few days before Halloween. 18 began a couple of days before. Ends began about a week before. There you go. That's exactly my point. So depending on what the story is, that's what you do. Is so you can get that fall environment, and then all of a sudden at some point, somebody's like, oh my God, did you see on the news? There's a big storm that we're supposed to be getting on Halloween. Am I going to be able to go trick-or-treating, Mom? I don't know, little Jimmy. Hopefully. Okay. And then nobody can because of the storm, and everybody's battening down the hatches and everybody's isolated. The power's out. God damn it, man. And Michael Myers shows up. Now that's a Halloween movie that I would like to see. As long as the starting date has something relevant happen, it's fair game. Well, what do you mean by relevant? What do you mean? I don't think that's true. I don't think so. I think you mean I don't think you have to open with a kill or open with anything. I think you could open a week before Halloween. Again, what's the story? Where is Michael? Is Michael in an asylum? Is it like the beginning of Halloween Ends where they don't know where he is? If we're remaking the movie, then maybe that's a bit different. But if you're doing a sequel, or if you're doing it depends on what the story is, right? If the story is that Michael, they don't know what happened to him, they never found his body. Well, you can begin it whatever the hell you want, because there's story that you're building up to it, right? And so there doesn't have to be a kill, or Michael doesn't have to be mentioned in the opening day, or anything like that, in my opinion anyway, because you're building up to it, right? And you set the foundation. You set the foundation of where we are in the universe, where he is, who are these characters in relation to that? What's the story, right? And then he makes his return, a week, I don't know, a week later, whatever. Halloween in space? Yeah, why not? Let's do Halloween in space. Why not? Halloween in space. What's the time? Oh, we'll go another 10 minutes. We'll take this thing to 2 hours, and then we will call it an evening. It's been a good show, though. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Star Wars, Die Hard, Halloween, Wednesday. Yes, in case you're just joining me, I'm a fan of Wednesday. I know. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Brandon says Friday the 13th part 3 and 4 aren't even on Friday the 13th. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And if you want to get really technical, a lot of the kills that Michael Myers does in Halloween 2 is after midnight. So technically it's November 1st. Somebody tried to argue that with me. He kills on November 1st. Yeah, but it's still Halloween night. It's still, it's not it's still the same night. It's, technically it's November 1st. There you go. There you go, Frank. Frank getting all Carl Sagan here.
Technically, Earth only experiences the autumn equinox, so there's no Halloween in space.
Well, there you go. There you go. You know, that's it. It's perfect. The space station is called Halloween. Super Sport Ricky says, hey, Dave, do you have any Halloween memorabilia? I do. I have lots. I have Michael Myers masks. I have posters. I have Michael Myers, NECA figures and stuff. They're just in another room. I have stuff that people have sent me, shirts and yeah. Oh, yeah. Justin Hill says, I love Wednesday too. Yes, Justin. Yes. All right. We can enjoy Wednesday together then. That's amazing. Yeah. I always found that fun. When I talked about it the other day and I talked about it today, I was like, yeah, I realize I'm really not neither are you probably, the target demographic, but at the same time, it's a good show. It's a good show. And for me, I love watching actors act and because I started out as an on-camera actor, like I said, when I left college, I got my first agent and my first audition was for a music video by a group that is no longer around. They were like a dance pop group called Untamed. They were a Canadian group, three girls. And I auditioned for it. Came down to me and like a couple others. I didn't end up getting it. But that was my first audition. That would have been June of 2001. Pretty crazy. And then I auditioned for a lot of commercials and stuff. That's where I used to see Melanie Scrofano a lot, who's the girl I went to high school with, my friend in high school, who's now doing very well. She was Winona Earp in the sci-fi series. She was in Ready or Not. She's on a new sci-fi series now. I forgot the name of it. Now I haven't talked to Melanie in quite a few years, but I used to see her all the time at auditions. I think we auditioned for a butter commercial together as like a husband and wife or something. I didn't get it. I don't think she got it either. But sometimes they will pair you together. I think it was a husband. We would have been a young husband and wife. In 2001, I would have been 22. And she's younger than me. So she would have been maybe like 20. So maybe it wasn't husband and wife. Maybe it was I just remember there being like, we had to, there was a picnic blanket and we had to, this is a national television commercial and we had to, it might not have been just the two of us. Might have been, maybe it wasn't just the two of us. Maybe it was like a group of friends. Anyways, it was a butter commercial and somebody left the butter lid open or something and there were like flies around and we had to pretend that we were like getting swarmed with flies. I remember this. I don't know. Yeah, but I didn't get it. I know she didn't get it. I don't think she did anyway. Maybe she did. I don't know, but I don't think she did. But anyway, yeah, so I did a lot of that. I appeared as an ATF agent in a docudrama. I was in a docudrama on the Bali bombing. I was part of the whole, that was great to be on that set. That was really cool. I was like done up in like I had been in a bomb. It was based on true events, and they were doing the dramatization of it. And so I was on set for that for like 2 or 3 days, and I was one of the people in the restaurant or bar. God, I can't remember now. Wherever this happened, hotel something, and I was one of the victims there, and I was at the bar, and there was like, they had pyrotechnics and explosions and shit. It was my first time being on a set that big. This is like 2004, maybe 3, 4, something like that. And that was really cool. And then I had to get fitted for like torn clothes and shit and all that. And I had blood on me and everything. It was really cool. It was really cool. It was part of a docuseries called 0 Hour, I think. I think it was called 0 Hour, I think. I was in another one about Sherlock Holmes. I I did end up doing a few commercials as well. One for sandwich meat. I forget the name. I forget the brand name now. That's where when I was in the makeup chair and I was getting my makeup done for that, that's where the makeup artist who was doing my makeup had just finished. So this was 2001 or 2 or something like that. The makeup artist had just finished was doing my makeup. She had just finished working on Driven with Sylvester Stallone because that was shot in Toronto. And I remember, I think I've told this before, but I remember she was talking to me about it. When you're doing you're in the makeup chair for a while and you're doing makeup, and she was telling me about it and how, and about Sly and all that. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, that's amazing. And she was like, and when I stood up to go to the set, to go to the soundstage, she was like, yeah, and he's shorter than I thought. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, he's like, might even be shorter than you. And I was like, no, come on. She said, I'm not kidding. And I've heard that before. Now, I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'8". I'm not a tall guy. I'm not like tiny. I'm not like, Danny DeVito, but I'm just kind of like, you'd see me and I'm just kind of average, I guess. Right. But yeah, 5'8", not tall. But I have heard, now again, this is before social media. The internet was like nothing, you know what I mean? And so, but I have heard in the years since, online and videos, social media, articles, that yeah, he's barefoot. There are some people have said he's 5'7". Tom Cruise is 5'7", apparently. And I'm like, no. But you put boots on him, you put 2 or 3 inches of boots on him, yeah, he's going to be like 5'10", right? You know what I mean? And so in his movies, he's probably 5'10". But anyways, I just thought that was funny. I was like, no. And I'm like, well, she would know. I mean, she was doing Sylvester Stallone's makeup. So, I mean, she would know, and so I just remember thinking at 22 years old, because at that age, I'm still thinking Sylvester Stallone is larger than life, right? He's got to be like 6'2", and it's like my heart was shattered that day. I was like, no. He's like, what? He's like my height? But that goes the same with Tom Cruise, Steven Spielberg, Sylvester Stallone. I think Jack Black might even be 5'6" or something like that. But anyways, we all know that. But how did I get on this? I forgot. What was I talking about? I was talking about just starting out my career, I guess. Yeah. Oh, the movie. Yeah, I guess. Anyways, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about now, but no, it's been, I started out as an on-camera actor. Yeah. And then, I would like to, the most recent thing I've done obviously on camera is Dylan's New Nightmare. But I will say being on that set and being an actor, and watching, we were talking about Wednesday. That's right. Watching the series Wednesday, and watching a lot of the behind the scenes, it gives me that acting bug again, the on-camera acting bug again. Now, to do it again, I would have to get updated headshots. I'd have to get an agent, an acting agent, which I could do. I know all the agencies here. I am represented by 2 agencies, but that's for voiceover, right? They're not, they don't represent on camera. So I would have to get an agent for on camera, which, I could do. Again, not a big deal, but it's a process. You know what I mean? But I have just watching it, it's given me that acting bug because I know what it's like being on set. Not like a series like Wednesday in terms of that scale, but watching actors act, like I miss it. Like I was watching a lot of the BTS, and there's just a lot of things that, like, some things change, right? Like technology and of course it's 2025, not 2003. But the process, the principles, they don't change. And so watching it and just remembering some of the things I was fortunate enough to be a part of, it gives me that kind of bug again, where I'm kind of like, I'm 46 now, but hey, maybe I should, get some updated headshots and get back out there. You never know. You never know. You never know. I'm thinking about. I have to admit, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it in terms of the on camera, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. If the house on Port Robinson Road takes off and takes up all my time, I will be very happy to dive into that full time and make that film, obviously, because, you know, it's all part of the same industry, right? Making movies and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I did get that little bit of acting bug again watching. I was like, I haven't done this. And so, like the on camera and doing Dylan's New Nightmare, being in the makeup chair, getting all that on, being on set, working with Miko, working with, you know, Ron and everybody. I was like, yeah, I got that bug, you know, because I'm a natural performer. Right. And so, you know, you get, you know, when you go away from it for a bit and you come back to it and you get that taste of it again, you're like, this is, I need to do this more, you know? And so, anyways, I digress, but Wednesday's great. I really like it. And Jenna Ortega is killing it. That's that. I mean, this is going to be, well, this is right now, her, you know, what she's known for right now. She's killing it. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a great show. Call me crazy. I think it's a great show. VO Tripper sends in $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, I have a recommendation for you. Okay. Mad S. It's a one-take, Mad S. Okay. It's a one-take French horror film from last year, but one of the few newer horror films that I love. Okay. All right. Cool. I've never heard it, so I'll definitely have to check it out. Oh, Brandon found the link? No. Let me see this. Is this it? Oh, this is old. 12 years ago. Is this it? Oh, this might be it. Yeah, I think this is it. Now, whether I'm actually, you can see me in here or not, I don't know, because I was with a lot of people, part of the bombing. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, that's got to be it. Anyways, the dramatization of that, I'm in there somewhere. I was on set for like 3 or 4 days, and I'm in there somewhere. And I remember, and it was great. It was really great. I wish I could find those commercials I've done. Yeah, because I did 3 commercials maybe. Like I said, one was for a sandwich meat. One was for, oh God, it's been so long. Sandwich meat, Tylenol maybe or something. I can't remember, but it's been a long time. But finding those might be more difficult because the Bally bombing episode's tied to a series, right? And so, but yeah, no, that was great. It was shot. I remember it was shot. And there's an ATF. I was an ATF agent on something that I forget. I don't know if it was 0 Hour or maybe it was Forensic Factor. I think it was Forensic Factor. And I was an ATF agent in one of their episodes, but I forget which episode now. But again, that's when I was first beginning, right? Like this is 2001, 2002, 2003. I was right at the bottom auditioning for commercials and anything that my agent would send you out for, right? You know what I mean? And I booked some commercials. I've got these shows under my belt, and and then I broke my teeth, and then I got into the voiceover, and then I never looked back. But the acting bug has never left. The on-camera acting bug has never left me. So I'm seriously considering doing it again. It's a very different world now, but again, a lot of the things change, but a lot of things don't change as well. So you never know, folks. You never know. You might see me. You never know. Maybe you'll see me on some show very, very soon down the road. You never know. You never know. But it was so disappointing too, because I was having such a lot of success and then broke my teeth, and then, but I have no regrets. No regrets. I turned to voiceover while I was getting my teeth fixed, and I never looked back. And I've had great success in voiceover, and I've worked at the highest levels in the industry in that regard. And it's been, and it's still going, obviously. And I'm very thankful for it, for sure. And I love it. Absolutely love it. But like how I got the filmmaking bug again in 2019 when I turned 40, and I was like, I really got to make a go at this. I'm 40. What am I going to do? I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. All right, you know what? We'll do Billy and Billy 2, and we'll do that and, create a professional product to show what we can do and portfolio. But that was because I turned 40, and I was like, I got to, if I'm going to have any chance of having a career as a filmmaker, I got to do something, right? And so now I got the house on Port Robinson Road and all this kind of stuff. And so, and I'm kind of feeling that way now with the acting, with the on-camera acting, watching Wednesday and watching the behind the scenes and some other shows I've watched. I'm just kind of like, I remember what that's like, and not that I haven't thought that with other things of BTS I've watched. There's just something about this that kind of makes me go, yeah, you know what I mean? I want to get the act, I kind of have that thing again, that fire I was like, I think I could, But again, I'm not doing it tomorrow because I don't have updated headshots. And so updated headshots would be the first priority, and then seeking out an agent. So, yeah. Josh McKenna says, do you like watching press junket interviews? Thank you, Josh. Did I get the one before that too? Yes. Yeah, I don't mind it, depending on, I think when you have a really good interviewer, it's really great. I think when you have a very stagnant, poor interviewer, it can be, difficult. But generally, yeah, I don't mind it. It can be hard for the actors because they get asked the same questions over and over again. So it can be hard, but, I don't mind watching them. Yeah, I'm watching them. I did, Evil Alex. That's right. You broke a tooth as Freddy as well. Yeah, that's right. Well, it was I didn't break a different tooth. It was the same tooth. So the tooth that I broke while I was shooting Freddy was just like, I didn't break a new tooth. It was just the part that had been reattached by my dentist 20 years earlier. That's the piece that came apart. And so it was just the piece that was attached. It came apart again. And so that's what happened. But yeah, no, it was the first time I did it in 2003. It was 2003 or 4 when I broke my tooth. I had to go on hiatus. My agent couldn't send me out for acting roles until I got my teeth fixed. So in the meantime, I was doing voiceover. And it just took off. It started to take off, and then I never looked back. I was able to leave my part-time job at the video store, and I was able to go full-time, and I've been full-time for nearly 20 years now. And so, yeah, it's been really great. It's been really great. And so, but like I said, yeah, going back to also doing the on-camera as well, that bug, I got that fire. I don't know what it was. It was just something about watching Wednesday, and I can't quite. It's nothing about the show specifically. It was just more. Maybe I was studying the acting more than I normally do, or because, like I said, after I watched Wednesday, I watched A Good Girl's Guide to Murder with the girl that plays Enid in Wednesday, and because I like her as an actress as well, and I'm also looking at actors differently as well too, right? Because obviously as a filmmaker, you look at actors and you go, oh, they would be great for X, or they might be great for, some actors might be way out of my reach in terms of accessibility, but you're always studying actors. You're always watching. So I'm watching actors as a filmmaker. I'm watching actors as an actor, and so I just started. Wednesday just might've been the show that was the catalyst that started that. But I do love the show. I think it's great. And I think Ortega is fantastic. I think Emma Myers is great. I think Catherine Zeta-Jones, like I said earlier in the show, is still sexy as all hell. She's fantastic. The cast, all the cast, not just Ortega, but the entire cast is great. It's a great cast. It's a great cast. So it makes it fun to watch. And, yeah, I didn't quite like a Good Girl's Guide to Murder as much. I mean, it's a very different show. But Emma Myers is great in it. She's great in it. And when season 2 comes out, I will watch it for her. Because, I like watching her as an actor. it might be hard to explain to people who aren't actors, who aren't in the business, maybe why that's the case. But if you are, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like you get it. Sometimes you just like to watch other people work for a variety of different reasons. And that doesn't mean that you're not invested in the story and you're not lost in the story. No, you are, but you're juggling many different mindsets all at once. But anyway, yeah, no, it was, I've got that fire again. So I'm seriously considering it. I want to get back out there. And as I said, Freddie as well played a huge part in that, to be in the makeup chair, to get lost in the makeup, to lose myself in that role and everything was just, it was fantastic. It's the closest that you can get to playing Freddie officially without playing Freddie officially, right? In a professionally produced, fan film, yes, but, professionally made opposite Miko Hughes, who's an Elm Street alum, with Ron Sloan and, the whole dynamic of everybody and just the whole way that it came about and the marketing of it and the promotion of it and the coverage of it. It's the closest you can get to playing Freddie officially without it being official. Do you know what I mean? I think that's probably safe to say. So it was very cool. And I took it very seriously as you saw. And so I enjoyed it. And so that was part of it or that plays a part of it for sure. So anyways, yeah, not to beat that dead horse, but I'm seriously considering it. Oh geez. Yeah, I'm way over now. Okay. Justin Hill says, Dave, I think it's because you are a natural character actor, in my opinion, and it hit a nerve with you. It could be. It could be. It could be because when I watch Ortega as Wednesday, which is now she's, she's the lead in Wednesday. She wasn't the lead in Scream or X or the Unicorn one or she's been the co-lead in some romantic comedies. I wouldn't call her a leading lady yet, but she's still very young. I think she's turning 23 like soon or something. She's very young. But she's the lead in that film or in the show. But she's playing a character. Like she's, it's, you know what I mean? Everybody's playing a character, putting on wigs and different outfits and, all that kind of stuff. And that could be part of it. When I watched the character that I would have loved to have played in Wednesday season 2, obviously I'm way too old now to play any of the kids. I would have loved to have played one of the kids if this was 25 years ago. But I'm too old for that now. But I would have loved to have played Steve Buscemi's role. As Principal Dort. I think that would have been a lot of fun. And I'm the right age for it. Now he's much older than me, but I just mean that I'm the right age for it. Gwendolyn Christie is a year older than me, I think. I think she's 47. And she was the principal in the first season, right? So yeah, I would have loved to have played somebody like that. Cause it's age appropriate, right? I'd love to play one of the kids, man, and get these fucking, that'd be awesome, but I'm too old. So, age appropriate, the principal, I also would have loved season one. I would have loved to have played the villain at the end of season 1. The Pilgrim guy. I forget his name now. Would have loved to have played him. Cause he was in total prosthetics. You know what I mean? And he was like going full on, like animated and yelling and screaming and all these power and shit. And I would have loved that. And to go up against Wednesday, like in the final battle, that would have been really cool. That's a role I know I would have knocked out of the park. So roles like that, right? Like age appropriate roles, that would have been a lot of fun. So maybe you're right. I'm probably not a leading man. I don't think I'm a leading man. I think I could lead a film for sure. I'm certainly not, a leading man in the same ways like Harrison Ford would be, a leading man. But could I carry a film? Yeah, depending on what the film is, sure. But I do like playing characters. I do like it. And so, yeah, no, you're right. There was just something about watching Wednesday that really sort of ignited that spark. And it was everybody. It wasn't just one singular person. It was Ortega. It was Myers. It was, Buscemi. It was just the whole thing. And then I was watching some BTS and I'm sitting there and I'm going, fuck, like I remember, again, not on that scale, but it just, I remember doing this, I remember the grind, the on-camera grind. It's been a while, but I remember it. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, no, I think you're probably right there, man. VO Tripper sends in $5, says, say, Dave, have you been interested in covering international horror films in the same love as you do with Halloween or Black Christmas? I would have to, I'm not against it, but I'd have to watch it and I'd have to be really enamored with it. I can't just cover it because, I have to really love it. I can't just cover it because somebody else wants me to cover it. I have to want to talk about it, and talk about it. Like, oh, I watched this movie. I want to talk about this. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not against doing that as long as it's something I'm really invested in and I really, really love. If I watch a bunch of the movies, I'm like, yeah, they're okay. Like, all right, but they don't really speak to me. They don't hit me. Then I probably won't do anything on it. Brandon says she's only 22. There you go. She's only 22. She's still so young. She's still so young. And the thing too with Ortega is she has rounder, cuter features with a button nose. And so that will help the longevity of her being able, and she's small. She's very small. I think and I don't say this in a disparaging way. I just, talking about the realities. I think she's only 5 foot. I think she's 5 foot or 5'1". Like, she's very small. And so, her features will help her to play younger longer. And so that's a positive for her. Not that she wants to play Wednesday forever, but I just mean that will help her play younger because Wednesday's supposed to be what, 16, 17? I mean, she's supposed to be like, you know what I mean? So that will help her to play it younger longer. But she's no, she's great. She's extraordinarily talented for sure. Jay Beach says, Dave, not asking for numbers, none of our business, but Cecil said that the fan film cost around $30,000 out of pocket. Was there out of pocket cost on either IMDb films? Yes. Yes, there have been out of pocket costs for sure. There usually always is. There's always things that come up, things that you need to factor in, or that you didn't factor in. Some unexpected things that pop up. Yeah. There always is. And so I don't think it's been quite 30,000, but Bruce and I have both put in at least several thousand each, to varying things to finish off shipping, to finish off this or whatever the case is, right? Because costs go up and things change, all that kind of stuff. And so, but yeah, it's very difficult. Crowdfunding is very, 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 very tough. You have to factor in a lot of stuff. And don't forget that Indiegogo also takes their fee as well, right? So you have to factor that in, and so it's not easy, but I didn't know that. I didn't know about that 30,000. That doesn't surprise me. I know he's been grinding for a while, so that doesn't surprise me, and it's not unprecedented. Vince would have had to do the same thing, to varying degrees. Like, we're not all putting in 30,000, but we've all had to put in out of pocket to some degree, you know what I mean? And depending on what that is will determine on how expensive it is. Right. So yeah, no, it can happen. All right. Let me see here. I think I've got all the super chats, the member chats. I think. I just want to make sure. How long have I been going here? I've been going for quite a while. 2 hours. You know what? Let's take it to 2.5 hours. We'll take it to 2.5 hours. That's another 10 minutes, and then we'll call it a night. That's what we'll do. Zach Kreger said he's making an Aunt Gladys prequel film. All right. Well, we'll see. Don't get me wrong, says VO Chapur. I meant as international horror film that you'd love to talk. Oh, well then, yeah, like High Tension. Yes, I love High Tension. Now, I haven't watched High Tension or Switchblade Romance, as it's known. I haven't watched it in quite a few years, so I'd have to watch it again. But yes, if it speaks to me, I'm totally, yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Daz says he is a good interviewer. It's just UK TV has to be investigative, whereas in America all the time it's fluff. Just, man, you're talking about somebody I don't know who you're talking to. Broke teeth playing Freddy. I did. You did great on Cam as Freddy. Thank you very much. Dave, you were talking about acting like, oh, right. That's what I was talking about. Right. Yeah. I totally forgot why I was talking. I was like, how did I get on that? Because you know me, I always go in this round. It's just who I am, folks. Just who I am. I go in this roundabout sort of journey that takes you over here, and then I always bring you back. I always get you back on track. Often often because of the people like you that get me and keep me on track when I have no idea where I'm going. I'm like senile. I'm like, where the hell was I going? I'm totally lost here. Let me see here. I thought I was thought I was talking about what the fuck shit. I don't know. Betty. Fjordspur says, I can say, Dave, that High Tension has been out on UHD for a bit. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah, I just have to watch it again. It's been a long time since I own it on DVD, I think. Let me see. Not a big prequel guy, says Jonkler, the Collector, 98. Yeah, I'm not a big prequel. I mean, if it makes sense, it makes it. But like, I don't know. Like, speaking of Wednesday, right? They're talking about doing spin-offs. And I'm like, no. Why can't things just be, I know why. It's money. That's why. But they're talking about like an Uncle Fester spinoff. I'm like, I like the character. He works in Wednesday, but I don't want to see a whole show dedicated to him. Anyway, I've talked about Wednesday a lot on this show. What can I say? I like it. Dave, do you see Ortega staying within the horror or dark movie genres throughout her career? She's 22. She's very young. Well, I think she will for a little bit. I mean, a lot of people, that's how they get into the business, right? They get into horror. She's no different. I mean, she started off as a Disney kind of thing. And I've learned actually a lot about the cast, the young cast, over the last week or so since I've been watching season 2. I've read up a lot about Jenna Ortega and Emma Myers and, the actress who plays Bianca Joy, somebody. I've been reading up a lot about them just to learn how they got into the business, and it's very similar of how people get into the business. It's no different than how I first kind of got. I mean, everybody's different, but in terms of what you do to go about it, And so she was on commercials and Disney Channel, and the camera really likes her. I mean, she's obviously a very attractive young woman. The camera likes her. She's got good camera presence. Not everybody who's attractive does. So I'm not saying this because she's attractive. But there is the camera really likes her. She knows how to play to the camera. She's very smart. She's very young, but she's very smart. When I hear her talk about her character and her mindset, I think, hey, you're very smart. You're very smart. So I think she will continue to do horror for a little bit, for the foreseeable future. But I also think that she will, like most actors, they want to do other things. They want to do different things, right? Like I wouldn't want to just play Freddy for the rest of my life. I'd want to do other things. And so, part of that is fear of being typecast. Part of that is because of the work. The thing that a lot of people have to understand too is that it's not that actors don't like the shows they're on and they're appreciative. But it is work at the end of the day. It's work. And when they do the work and they go home and it's a job, and they're very thankful and they're proud of it and they can like it and they can be protective of it and they can enjoy it. But fans of the work will always know far more than the actors do. And so, for a lot of actors, I assume for Jenna Ortega and her reps, it's like, we're going to get you into the best things we possibly can. Right now, she's doing a bunch of different things. She's doing horror. She's doing Wednesday. She's got this film with J.J. Abrams, which I don't think is horror, although there might be a supernatural element to it. But she's doing a bunch of stuff, and I don't think she'll stay in horror for the rest of her life. No, she's too young. She's too young. I think she'll be in dramas, and she might end up in, the MCU or something, ridiculous like that. I don't know. But I don't think she'll do horror for the rest of her life. But I did learn that she really loves horror. It's her favorite genre, apparently, or at least one of them. So she's, a big fan of it. So that's good. Well, exactly. Aaron says Wednesday is already a spinoff in a way of the Addams Family. It'd be a spinoff. Yeah, exactly. Which is why one of the things, and again, I like season 2. Don't get me wrong, I did. But one of the things that I did find there was maybe a little too much going on. And as much as I adore Catherine Zeta-Jones and everybody in their roles as the Addams Family outside of Wednesday, with more actors and more characters, require more screen time, require more plot points and story beats and all these things. And we have to remember the show is called Wednesday. And not that at any point I felt that she was sidelined in her own show. I did not feel that in season 2. They did a really good job. But I almost feel like that's the threshold you'd want to go. I don't know. I just kind of, that's my only concern is let's make sure that, and I'm sure they will. Listen, these are professional writers, which doesn't mean, they can't make mistakes, but I'm sure they know this. But yeah, there's certain things as a creator, there's certain things I look at and I go, okay, all right. You've sort of exhausted that story beat now. We don't need to see that in season 3. It's kind of resolved itself, but but they're going to so I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, maybe it'll be amazing. I'm a fan. They've sold me. I'm a fan. And I laugh. I do laugh. But what drives that show, and I can tell you, what is driving that show, as great as everybody else is, what's driving that show is obviously Jenna Ortega's Wednesday, yes, but is the dynamic between her and her school friend. That dynamic, that dark cloud and sunshine, that dynamic and that dichotomy, that kibitzing back and forth in that relationship, that's the heart of the show. That's your heart of the show. And Wednesday, I mean, obviously on her own, of course. But so I'm hoping we see more of them in season 3, more of that dynamic. But it was good. It was good. I just felt I wasn't expecting it to be so much more than it was in season 1. But I did like it. It wasn't awful. It wasn't awful. It was good. I enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch Wednesday, because I think you'll get a kick out of it. And and Jenna Ortega really does nail the character. She probably has a little bit of Wednesday in her, which is why she's probably so good at it. Anyways, okay. Folks, listen, that is going to do it for me here on this episode of McRae Live. We went 2.5 hours just hanging out, taking questions, shooting shit, talking about Star Wars and Wednesday and Halloween and winter and fall and the house on Port Robinson Road and all kinds of stuff. A lot of fun, folks. Been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. Really, really cool. The next show I come back with obviously will be a topic show of some sort. I just got to figure out what I want to talk about. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you to, of course, my moderators. Thank you, of course, to the super chats that came in. And don't forget, folks, to head over to the Indiegogo campaign for the house on Port Robinson Road, the development campaign. We've reached our goal in terms of the base goal, but we're now in demand, and we're trying to get to our first stretch goal. There's also 13 of the Bloodbath double features left. So I'd love to sell those out, folks. There's only 13 left. I mean, this community can do it, right? This community can do it. Of course, the Bloodbath double feature is the watch along with me on Halloween night, October 31st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Halloween Kills and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Do not worry if you can't make it. You can still pick up the perk and you'll get the link and you'll be able to watch the replay afterwards. Have a great night, folks. Have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you are around the world. And I will talk to you all soon. Alrighty. In the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you soon. Cheers.